Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Secretary, it certainly was a pleasure to serve with you in this body, and it is a pleasure to see you at work in the department. Let me touch quickly on 4 points. First of all, I wanted to applaud you and Assistant Secretary Oates for tying the WIA to public libraries. Public libraries are so important for people to get the job training and connect to jobs. And I'd like you to keep us informed on how that effort is going. Secondly, you spoke to Ms. Biggert about her concern to get better investment information and education in your coordination with the Securities and Exchange Commission. I hope you'll keep me informed along with Ms. Biggert on that issue. With regard to OSHA, which, 40 years ago, New Jersey's Senator Pete Williams helped to enact OSHA, and I can't emphasize too strongly the importance that OSHA is, that it has. There are millions of Americans who have their arms, legs, eyesight, and even lives, and they don't know who they are. They have those because of OSHA, but they don't know that those were saved because of OSHA. I've been a big proponent of reinstituting the Office of Technology Assessment, this important congressional agency. Before OTA was defunded, it did a review of OSHA, quite a detailed review, and it came out with quite positive conclusions about the effectiveness of it, about the methodology and analytical priorities, and even about the cost burden that OSHA imposes. I think it's time for an update on this, whether it's done through the GAO or otherwise. I'd like to talk with you about how we might update that, because I'm sure the results will be useful in actually making the case for how important OSHA is to keep going. And then fourth, I just wanted to mention the legislation that Representative Petri and I introduced in this Congress, the Lifetime Income Disclosure Act, which will help workers prepare for retirement by providing them with information about how their savings will address their monthly living expenses on into retirement. And I know last year the Departments of Labor and Treasury held a well-publicized request for information on lifetime income. And I think this is a good way to go, and I wanted to ask you how Congress should be working with the Department on this issue.
Well, your last question, Congressman, we're very interested in working with you. We know that there are different populations that are affected with respect to how they save and what information they get or they don't get. And typically, a widow, for example, may have had a work situation where she may not have had 20 or 30 years in the workplace because she had to take care of her family, now finds herself in a situation where she doesn't have adequate retirement funds that she should have known earlier to set aside in some way, and there are tools to do that. So through our offices of EBSA, Phyllis Borzai, I believe, has done a really great job in making sure that we provide as much information, as much transparency and options so that individuals, consumers, can make better decisions about what they want. Typically, in some cases, when someone retires and they want to tap into that fund, it may not be wise to get a lump sum at one time. They may need to have it staggered. As you know, that's a very important part of managing one's budget in that particular situation when people are living off that one last amount of fund that's going to keep them going for a few years. So it is so deeply important, and it's something that we care very much about. We want to work with you on that. With respect to OSHA, as you know, if OSHA wasn't in place, I think we would have a much higher rate of injury. And because of OSHA and the passage back in 1970, and they're going to be celebrating their 40th anniversary as well, we've been able to see reductions of 65% in occupational injury and illness. And that has been a tremendous factor that has helped keep people on the job, keep them safe, and to also minimize disturbances that might have occurred with their employer, bankruptcy or what have you, because someone was injured or someone was killed.
Thank you.
I
Thank you,
thank the
Mr.
gentleman. The gentleman's time has